Welcome to the parent engagement session for early years mathematics. In our session today, we will be looking at mathematics mastery. What does maths look like in FS2? What resources and strategies do we use to support maths? An exploration of learning, mathematical language, how can you support your children at home, and any apps or useful website links. So first of all, what is maths mastery? So it's in East and Southeast countries such as Singapore and Japan, South Korea and China were significantly outperforming the UK or British curriculum schools in maths. By the age of 15, students from these countries are on average up to 3 years ahead in maths compared to 15-year-olds in the UK. The idea of mastering maths means acquiring a deep and long-term, secure and adaptable understanding of the subject. So developing this deep understanding all starts in the early years by giving children a solid foundation of number, shape, space and measure. The key principles of mastery include problem solving, high expectations, concrete pictorial and abstract representations of problems, a deeper understanding, a growth mindset, and the use of mathematical language. I'm just going to explain to you the concrete pictorial and abstract aspect. So concrete is where we would use physical objects for them to explain their working out and demonstrate their understanding. This can also be through pictorial, which is classed as a seeing stage. So we can use that throughout our sessions with the children. And then abstract is where we represent the concrete and the pictorial using both symbols and numerals. So developing a deeper understanding. This is where we would use a range of different questions to help deepen that understanding for the children to explain the problems that they have worked out. And we will do this by providing the children with different strategies as well. These can include, can you count backwards from 14? So this would be where the children would know that they need to start at 14 and count backwards all the way back to 0. What numbers are hidden inside 5? So that might be where children have 5 objects and start to explore different groupings and combinations of numbers that would make up the number or value 5. Can you give me 9? Can the children count 9 objects out of a larger group of objects? Can they count 1 to 1? And can they understand that the value or the number that they've counted represents that numeral? What is 4 add 2? How do you know? And can you show me another way to make that makes the answer? So using the phrase prove it helps those children demonstrate that deeper, secure knowledge. Can you explain to a friend? We use this a lot within our math sessions, which I will talk about shortly, where the children have a talk task where we have to prove if the problem is true or false or right or wrong. Okay, maths in the early years, so that is FS1 and FS2, is broken into 2 strands. So the area is maths and it's broken into 2 strands. One strand is number, and by the end of the year, by the end of FS2, so their whole journey from birth up to the end of FS2, they will be developing lots of different skills. The aim by the end is for children to count reliably with numbers from 1 to 20, place them in order, and say which number is 1 more or 1 less than a given number. They will use quantities and objects to add and subtract 2 single-digit numbers, and they can count on or back to find the answer, and they solve problems including doubling, halving and sharing. So what this shows you is that's where the children need to get to at the end of the year and this is the age band 40 to 60 months. And these are the things that we would also include in our maths lessons throughout FS2 as well. The other strand that is part of maths in our curriculum is shape, space and measure. So within this particular strand, we would be expecting the children to use everyday language to talk about size, weight, capacity, position, distance, time and money, to compare quantities and objects and to solve problems. They recognise, create and describe patterns. They explore characteristics of everyday objects and shapes to use mathematical language to describe them. And again, the points before the early learning goal, which they would be assessed on at the end of the year, show you all the different areas that we look at within our maths lessons for shape, space and measure. What does maths look like in FS2? So our maths lesson usually will consist of an active warm-up that will be focusing on concepts that we've looked at before, such as counting forwards and backwards, applying actions to counting. It might look at shapes or doubling, halving, sharing. It might just be focusing on counting from 0 to 20 and increasing speed. We will then introduce the lesson and the aim of the lesson and talk about the resources that we need for that session. We will always include star words. Now, the star words are language words to help develop their mathematical language and understanding of key vocabulary and questions that will be asked in the session. The next part of the lesson will look at new learning. It will start with guided learning, which is where the teacher leads that aspect of learning, and the children will follow. So that will be through a my turn, your turn approach. It will then move on to the children having a go at a particular aspect of the learning, and that will be slightly supported with half of the problem being done for them and the children have to complete it, focusing on the steps and strategies that have been introduced through the first part of the lesson. The next part will be them applying their skills independently from the session. They will then have a talk task, as explained before, where there will be a problem that they need to decide if it is correct or incorrect. Then there will be an activity for them to complete. The maths lessons are very engaging and very active and practical, so the children have got access to those concrete materials and resources, and then also pictorial by visualizing it on the screen. So I'm just going to introduce to you a few resources that the children will use in maths. So we will use for some aspects of maths, such as addition, would be a part-whole model. So this would be how many in one part, how many in the other part, and move your objects to the whole and see how many altogether. We would have a 5 frame. So this will be looking at different combinations of numbers that would make 5 through addition and subtraction. A 10 frame. Again, different groups of objects that would make 10. And it also aids for quick counting, because we know if one side is complete, then we can start at 5 and add on. We can also use 2 10 frames when we are looking at numbers beyond 10. We can use objects. So these are some examples of objects that the children might use. And the ones above are a resource called Numicon. And then a number line to check our answers, especially when adding and subtracting. So we're going to have a little look at numbers from 0 to 20. We're going to just talk about a little exploration of learning for different aspects of the number strand for the early learning goal, which the children will work towards for the end of FS2, as explained previously in the engagement session today. So we're going to be looking at arrangement styles and counting out of a group. more and less and comparing quantities, and then understanding of a value or an amount. So first of all, arrangement styles. The reason we look at arrangement styles is so that children can explore counting objects correctly and knowing that that represents a number, so a value. The different arrangement styles that we have are line style, 5 style, 10 frame style. There is numicon style or number frame style, freestyle or dice style. I have got a little video that explains these for you. I'll just share that with you now. Looking at arrangement styles. Now that might seem a bit tricky, but what we've been doing with the children is they count out a number of objects and they would place them in what's called random style. So they would select their amount of objects from a larger group. So these are looking at lots of the different objectives that the children need to achieve by the end of the year. So if they had 20 objects in total, we would ask them, for example, to take out 11 objects from that 20 and place them in random style, which would look like this. We sometimes use the action this, random. And the reason that we don't often promote random style is that it can be quite tricky to count, especially if you don't count the objects first before you place them in random style. The objects would be, the children would start to count the objects and they might count an object more than once. So for example, if I select 11, there's my 11 objects, and as you can see they're in random style, so we might ask the children to check that they've got 11. Now to check when they've got 11 in random style, as I explained, can be quite difficult, so we would ask them to put them in line style, and again we would use the action like this, just creating a line with our finger, line style. Now the line style can go horizontal or it can go vertical, so we've been practicing it horizontally. So again we would place them in a line, and as we would do that we would count them. So we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So my total is still 11, and it's just explaining to the children that we don't have any more objects, we don't have any less objects, we've still got the same amount of the number that we've asked you to get, so there is 11, and we've got them in line style. Moving on from that, we'd ask them to do it in 5 style. So this has a very similar concept to tally marks. For example, if we were to do it in 5 style, you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cross over, and then start another group, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 for 11. So 5 and 5 is the 10, and then 1 more is 11. However, when we do it in 5 style with our objects, we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we've talked a lot about there has to be a space. You have to show the space to show that there are more than one group. So we'd leave a space, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'd start another group. So the children can still see that there is 11 altogether. The reason that we would use 5 style is to support the quick counting. So we already can see that there's a group of 5 and a group of 5 and then 1 on its own. So therefore we can either start counting at 5, so 5 in our head, and do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or for those children that are ready and they can see that they've got 5 and 5, they will know that 5 and 5 together is 10, so therefore they can start counting at 10 and go 10, 11. Moving on from that, we would do tens frame style. So we've been using not only one 10 frame, we've been looking at 2 tens frames. And we would show them like this. So our number is 11, so we would write 11. This breaks the number up into what's called tens and ones. So as we move through the numbers, each number will have a number of tens and a number of ones. So 11, we can see we've got one group of 10. That means that this side of the tens frame would be full. and the children would know that it would be full, it was because there would be no empty spaces. This is something that we talk about on a day-to-day basis within the class when we do how many children are in school, how many children in each bubble, how many children all together, how many empty spaces, and so on. So that is our one group of 10, and then 1, 1. If I wanted to change this, for example, and we were to do the number 14, we can see that the one group of 10 always stays the same. However, our number of ones has changed. So instead of having 1, 1, we now need 4. So what we would do is we would make our line of 4. So what I've gone through with you today is random style, line style, 5 style, and 10 frame style. We're now going to explore the other arrangement styles such as number frame or numicon style and freestyle or dice style. Hi everybody, so this is just a follow-on video looking at those different arrangement styles. So the previous video looked at random style, line style, we looked at 5 style where we have them in groups of 5, and then we also looked at 10 frame style. There are 2 more different arrangement styles that we're going to look at today, and all that we look at when we do the arrangement styles is that the value of objects, the quantity, always stays the same. It's just how we arrange it and how it can support us counting and doing any mathematical problems. So if we again look at the numbers at the top, so I will use 11 as an example because that is one that I used in the first video just to give you an idea. So if we've already got our 11 objects, which I'll just count out for you again. So remember, for the children, we would ask them to put them in line style. And if they're unsure, then go back and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11. There we go. So I've got my 11 objects. So currently they're in line style. Now the arrangement style that we're going to look at first is going to be number frame style, or something else that we would call in the classroom numicon. Now the children have access to these resources in the classroom. So these are called numicon. Now these are a resource that we can use where the amount is already shown in a piece of material, and that is represented by the number of holes that each piece has. So as we looked at in 10 frame style, 11 has got 1 10 and 1 1s. So the children could select a 1 10 and a 1 1 using numicon. But if they were to represent it using their objects, they would just move them to create their group of 10, which is their 5 on the top, 5 on the bottom, and then they start a group at the side to show their 1. If they were going to show 14, which is another number we looked at the other day, again, it would be one group of 10 and 4 1s. So the difference is that instead of having our 4 in a line, as we did in 10 frame style, our 4 now will become a square because we're showing it in a different way. So again, if I move that's my group of 10, and now we'll just do my 4 1s and using the objects, and they would just place their individual objects in the same arrangement as they could when they use some actual numicon pieces. Okay, if I was to show you now the next arrangement style, which is freestyle or dice style. So again, we would show them in groups of 5 to start with, just like 5 style. However, the arrangement would be different. Instead of doing them in groups of 5 in a space, you would arrange them like you would on a dice. So just looking at 14, for example, we would show our 5s first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. as it's shown on the dice there, and then we would just do our next group again, leaving that space in between. And this will aid for that quick counting. And then a 4 on a dice is also very similar to the Numicon. So we can see that we've got a 5 and a 4, but still altogether we've got 14. If we were to show it as 11, I need to take some of those ones away because now I only need one 1. I would just show it with a 5 and a 1. So just moving on now to more and less and comparing quantities. So this is just a little example on the screen of 2 plates with some items of food on them. We can see that on one plate there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the other plate there are 1, 2, 3. So we would talk about with the children which plate has more oranges, which is the plate with 5, and which plate has got less oranges, and that would be the plate with 3. The reason the number line is on there is so that you can see that as you move up the number line, the value of the number increases, so that the children are understanding that the value of 5 is greater than the value of 3, and the value of 3 has a less value than 5. Moving on then, understanding the value and amount. So this just demonstrates that they're all representing the number 3. There is a 3 Numicon, there are 3 ducks in the pond, there are 3 tally marks, 3 dots on the dice, and 3 shells. Whatever arrangement or array that the value is represented in, it will always be the same value or amount. So all of those things represent the number 3. So these are things that you can do with the children at home. You can look for different ways to show 5, different ways to show 6, and so on. Moving forward now, we're going to explore addition and some different strategies on how to solve those problems.
We're going to solve some addition and subtraction number problems using our counting objects, our tens frame, and a number line to check our answer. First, there were 6 mini beasts in the tree. Then 3 mini beasts come to join. Now, how many are there altogether? Can you read our number sentence?
6 plus 3 equals.
Good job. And how many mini beasts were there first?
6.
Can you show me 6 using our tens frame?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Good job. And how many more mini beasts came to join?
3.
Can you show me 3 more?
1, 2, 3.
Good job. And how many mini beasts are there now? Can you count them all together?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Good job. Do you want to write our answer into our number sentence?
Yeah.
Okay. Good job, well done. And to check our answer, we're going to use a number line. So, using our number line, would you like to show us how we check? So what number is first in our number sentence?
6.
Good boy. And how many do we need to add?
3.
Can you show me?
1, 2, 3.
And what's our answer?
9.
Good job. Is our answer correct in our number sentence?
Yeah.
Well done. Do you want to read our number sentence now?
Yeah. 6 plus 3 equals 9.
Well done.
And just to support this method a little bit further, we look at counting on.
Can you start off by reading our number sentence?
No. 5 plus 3 equals.
Can you show me how to solve this question? What do you need to start with?
5.
Okay, can you count 5 for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Good job. And how many more do we need to add?
3,
Good boy.
1, 2, 3.
Now how many are there all together?
I know that there's 5 in the first row,
How many?
5 in the first row,
Yeah.
and then 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8,
So there are how many altogether?
8.
So you need to say there are 8 altogether.
There are 8 altogether.
So what we can see in the second video is that using the 10 frame, the little boy was aware that he had 5 in the first row. So instead of counting from 1, he counted on. So he started at 5 and then added on 3. So 5, 6, 7, 8 to find that 5 add 3 equals 8. So we're now going to have a little look at a child solving a subtraction problem.
Our next number problem is, first there were 8 butterflies on the flower. Then 5 of them flew away. How many butterflies are there now? Can you read me our number sentence?
8 take away 5 equals
Good job. And how many butterflies were there first?
8.
Can you show me 8 using our tens frame?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Good job. And how many of them flew away?
5.
Can you show me 5 flying away?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And now how many are left?
3.
Do you want to write our number into our number sentence?
Yeah.
Good job. And shall we check our answers right by using our number line?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So what number do we need to start at? What's the first number in our number sentence?
8.
Good job. Can you find number 8? And how many do we need to take away?
5.
Can you show me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What's our answer?
3.
Is our answer correct in our number sentence?
Yeah.
Should we read our number sentence?
Yeah. 8 take away 5 equals 3.
Good job.
Okay, our next part of learning is doubling and halving. So this first video will give you an example of how we can support doubling of numbers. So when we double and we teach doubling, the children are aware that it's the same number that's being added together and it's addition problem.
So in today's maths lesson, we are doubling. The number sum is 3 plus 3, so double 3. So what this little girl is doing is she has just painted half of a ladybug. She is now going to paint 3 dots on her ladybug, and she is going to fold the piece of paper to find out what double 3 is. Do you want to paint on your 3 dots now?
Yes.
Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. Well done. Do you want to fold it over?
Yes.
Press it down. Okay, I think you can open it now. Wow! So what is double 3?
6.
6, fantastic! Great work.
So we can also demonstrate and show doubling by using the tens frame as well, where we can show a group and then a group of 3 and a group of 3 and then how many altogether. Our next video is going to look at halving.
In today's lesson, we are halving. So over here we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 triangles. I've got 2 children here and they are going to halve the triangles. So do you want to begin? Off you go. So they both said, 1 for me, 1 for me, 1 for me, 1 for me. How many have you got? 4. And how many have you got, sweetie? 4. So half of 8 is
4.
So what we can see from the halving video, that it is the opposite of doubling. So we start off with amount, and whatever amount we share or take away will be the same amount as what is left. So 8, take away 4, leaves us with 4. We're now going to look at sharing an amount, which is also similar to halving, sharing between, it would be same as halving if sharing between 2, but in our video we're going to show sharing an amount between 3.
we are going to be sharing. So we have got 12 triangles, we have got 2 children and a toy. So we are going to share 12 between 3. So what is going to happen is one child is going to share them out. He's going to say 1 for me, 1 for you and 1 for you. So he's going to share them out equally. You can do this with food, fruit, toys. You can do this with anything. It's a nice practical way of sharing. Off you go. How many has everybody got? No, that was right. That was correct the first time. It was his. How many has everybody got?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And how about the toy?
1, 2, 3, 4.
So when sharing an amount, we need to make sure that we share it fairly or equally, so that every person that you're sharing with has the same amount. Moving forward, we're just going to explore some mathematical language and how this links to shape, space and measure. So mathematical language, it's the way that people speak and write about their mathematics transforms their learning. This is why we always promote talking about how we have reached our answer or why something is that answer. Always setting the expectation that children answer in full sentences and develop the skills to explain how they know. Having a conceptual understanding is knowing more than isolated facts and methods. There will be children that will already say that they know that 2 add 2 is 4. But we would ask the children, how do you know? So to gain that deeper understanding, the children would need to demonstrate their understanding by using pictures, pictorial or concrete objects. We would also include things like a say it sentence. For example, 3 add 4 equals 7, or 3 is a part, 4 is a part, and 7 is the whole. So mathematical language might be shown through talk task, vocabulary star words, through questioning, through full sentences, demonstrating by my turn, your turn, encouraging the children to show reasoning and explanation, and by solving different problems, whether that is mathematical number sentence problems or mathematical word problems. So in school, our vocabulary is promoted through star words and also through questioning and talk tasks. And we also include language on a regular basis through day-to-day routines such as register and days of the week. At home, you could incorporate the language through your day-to-day routines, through shopping, through playing and games, through cooking or preparing meals. Some other language that you might want to include and talk about would be size, capacity, and weight. So size language will include size in general, such as big, medium, and small. Height, including tall and small. Length, including long and short. You might use this again when exploring objects and toys around the home or when you're out and about. Capacity would be how full something is, either a liquid or a solid, and using words such as full, empty, half full, half empty, nearly full, or nearly empty. You might explore this through again when you're making a shopping list. So how much milk have we got? And asking the child to explain using the correct language and vocabulary how much milk is left in the carton. You might even explore this at bath time or also maybe when brushing your teeth. So how full is the toothpaste tube? Also looking at weight, so how heavy something is using the language heavy and light. And this might be just holding the object and going off your own judgment, or it could be exploring weight using weighing scales. And we would begin to use this language to make comparisons between objects such as taller, smaller, lighter, heavier. So how can you support the children at home? So through routines such as snack time, dinner time, or tidying up. You might be through games and play. So looking at games like Skittles or bowling, finding hidden numbers. Through singing nursery rhymes or number books. Problem solving through sharing or testing out ideas, and just talking generally about day-to-day routines. Other ways of supporting your child at home can include cooking, such as weighing and measuring ingredients, construction, so counting blocks, building towers or buildings of different sizes. Again, at bath time, you might have objects for counting or sorting, and then generally toys where you can sort them by objects or size or colour. It's very important that children count for a purpose. That can be through role play, doing their own register. They might reenact a teacher-child day-to-day routine. They might keep scores when playing games like tennis or football, or creating surveys. So they might ask members of the family what is their favourite food or cake, and then you can create tally marks and match a number to that. And providing experiences that include any number or shape, space and measure or reasoning scenarios such as jigsaws, playing with shapes, seeing if they can follow your explanations and build something that you've asked them to build using that positional language and spatial awareness, following instructions or playing memory games. And any apps or useful links that you could use to support their learning at home with maths. This would include a website called Top Marks, and if you click on the early year section from the subject menu, and there is a range of games that you can play, and it will look something like this. And there is another website called Number Fun, and you can sign up for 30 days. Now, we use lots of videos from this for our active warm-ups in our session. Also, there will be additional resources that will be shared with you from the class teacher throughout the school year as and when as and when new aspects of learning are taking place. I hope you found this parent engagement session useful today, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact your class teacher or the school directly. Many thanks for your time today. Bye.